Yo people, welcome to CMDAV. New year, new content. Happy New Year people. Hope you're all well and good. Let's get into the vid. In episode 26, Barry asks his sister Dynasty whether everything's alright. Context: at the end of the previous episode, she was sexually assaulted by Stevo, but she doesn't want anybody to know. She says that there's nothing wrong and Barry's relieved, and he says that they need to keep in his good books. At this point, Barry kind of sees something wrong, but at this point he doesn't really think too much of it because the way he's looking at her when she walks away. Whilst walking into school, Kevin sees their interactions between Stevo and Dynasty, but Stevo just says that he's heartbroken because he took Dynasty from him. Later inside, Kevin approaches Dynasty and tells her that he knows they're broken up and she doesn't need to care about him at all, but he still cares about her. She tells him to leave him alone and stop hanging around like a weirdo. He says he'll leave her alone if she's happy because she was weird with Stevo earlier. Dynasty says she doesn't need any help and that she's fine. Kevin doesn't believe her and he asks her something happened, and then he asks whether Stevo has done something to her. She doesn't admit it, but Kevin realizes something has happened. Dynasty tells him how Stevo sexually assaulted her but plays it off as they had sex because she led him on, so she can't blame Stevo. Kevin says he raped you. She tells him to leave it because it's done and he'll get hurt, but Kevin doesn't care and will not let him get away with it. Kevin tells Connor that Stevo raped her. Connor says he should go to police, but Dynasty doesn't want anyone to know. Connor says he's a psycho and the reason that him and Imogen are leaving. Kevin suggests they should take him out since who knows what he'll do to someone else next. Kevin's angry, but Connor calls him mad, but he says yeah, if it was Imogen he would do the same. Kevin convinces Connor to help him by telling him he made Dynasty think it was her own fault and he's making Connor turn into a coward since he's making Connor scared and want to run away with Imogen. Connor asks how can they actually kill him. Later on, Kevin says that it has to be a gun as the only way. He suggests that Barry can get it for them. Connor says that he needs to speak to Barry though because in Kevin's stay, it won't end well. Connor tells Barry that Kevin needs a gun to kill Stevo and Barry asks for all the information. Connor tells Kevin Barry's not interested and won't do it. Meanwhile, Barry asks Dynasty if she's got anything to tell him because Connor said Stevo did something to her. Dynasty replies like what? Barry then says that he raped her. Dynasty denies it and Barry is relieved to hear that from her. He's relieved, but later on, Barry drags Kevin into a private room and angrily Kevin asks what he wants, but Barry says if he carries on speaking to him like that, then he won't get him what he wants. Barry basically changes his mind and gives Kevin directions for where the gun will be. Near towards the end of the episode, Kevin is on the way to the gun, but Connor catches up with him and tells him not to do it since he could get arrested or killed and Dynasty wouldn't want that. Kevin tells him to leave him alone if he's not helping him. Kevin finds the spot that Barry tells him the gun will be and it's not there. He's shocked to hear Stevo asking, "You looking for something, lads?" holding the gun. Stevo tells them he knows about their plan to kill him and then throw away the gun since that's what he's been told. They're thinking about who told him, but then Barry walks behind him slowly. Kevin is livid, especially after what Stevo did to Dynasty. Connor asks Barry if he's gonna let him do this and Barry says that Kevin was gonna do the same to Stevo. Kevin is moving mad. He tells Stevo to do it because there's no way he's begging to give him the satisfaction. He says he raped Dynasty and it will get out regardless. Connor's just thinking in the back, this guy's gonna get us both shot the way he's running his mouth, and I don't even blame him. Kevin carries on to say he can never make Dynasty like or respect him because she hates him. He carries on his verbal energy that no one would miss him if he left, especially not Dynasty, and her life would be better if she never met you. This is the boiling point for Stevo. He tries to shoot Kevin, but it's empty. Stevo's angry and shouts at Barry saying it's empty. Barry tells Stevo that Dynasty told him Stevo didn't do anything, but he knows her and he knows when she's lying. Stevo walks to Barry and says, "Do you think I was gonna let you get away with it?" He attacks Barry, but Barry's got that 10-10 anticipation. He tackles him down and says, "You raped my sister. Did you think I was gonna let you get away with that?" He hears sirens and tells Connor and Kevin that he was never there and it stays between the three of them while Stevo, Connor and Kevin get taken into the station. This is the last time we see Stevo and this restarts the relationship between Dynasty and Kevin. For me personally, this was one of my favourite things to happen from the new era. So this episode in particular, I feel like the build up towards the actual scene of the gun and the fact that Barry didn't believe his sister and even shocked Kevin and Connor and even like me as a viewer. I remember watching it when I was a kid and I just thought that this was a good episode. I remember this one. Even what I thought back in the day, I thought it was a good episode. I think it was an even amazing episode from a season that's not one of my favourites, but this episode, they done their thing. What did you think of this episode? Let me know in the comments. Make sure you hit a like and subscribe. Thank you, stay safe and peace.